Hello and welcome to our first class for Term 2 2020. We are doing a Australia double page this way like this. You guys should have your kits and you'll need some scissors. There's a list of things you'll need to get. And I'll just switch over to our other camera so you can see them. Okay, so just to check and make sure you've got everything in your kit, you'll have the 4 papers, which are from the Sunburnt Country range. Aren't they just beautiful? They've got these lovely leaves, and you've got this page here, which has the beautiful birds on it. For the particular layout that we're doing today, I've chosen the coloured birds, and down here as well. Although I do really love the cockatoo section on there, but I have got a larger piece of paper with this cockatoo on it that I'm looking at doing another class down the track. So don't stress if you really love that one. You'll be able to use that one again. Okay, so we've got the 4 papers. We've got some plain card in a couple of colours. You'll also have a couple of flowers like this, and you'll have a couple of stamps as well. So these are the Couture G'day Mate and the Made in Australia stamps. So you'll just need to peel those ones off of their backings, and then you'll have to put them onto a clear block or a stamping platform. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So that should be all in your kit. Then the next thing we're going to need is the tools to put it together. So you'll need some tape runner. You could use some double-sided tape. You'll need some foam mount, which is your thick Magic Mount style foam adhesive, or you could use Zots. So these are Zots, and they are thick and they'll give it that raised look. That is for going underneath the bird. I'll just bring the layout here again. So under the bird there's a little bit of Magic Mount or some adhesive foam, and under a couple of these leaves as well. So this one here and this one here, there's a little bit of tape under some of those. There is a little bit of fussy cutting, sorry guys, can't help it. You'll need a trimmer or a craft knife. I use both. You'll need some fine tip scissors like that. That's really great for cutting into all the little sections of the leaves. And you'll need a brown or a black journal pen to do some writing. You'll also need some archival ink, which is your black archival ink, and your stamping platform, and also some brown ink and a dauber. I've got my trusty brushed corduroy, which I really love, and if I can find the dauber for it, that would be great. There it is, brushed corduroy. Then the stamping platform that we will use will be whatever you can get your hands on. I've got the old Tim Holtz one. So I use this one. There is a new one in the shop by Couture, and it works similarly, excepting you don't change out the way that you put the platform across. The new one has a spring loaded, so it's spring in here, but it doesn't matter what size stamp you use. If you're using this one, you need to make sure that you're on the clear side. So down here it says clear. When you turn it over like so and put it back in, it says rubber, and that's to accommodate the height of the thicker stamp. So we are going to use the clear one, and that's what we're going to be using to do our stamp so that we get a perfect stamp. But I'll show you that later. If you don't have that, don't stress. I'll show you another way of being able to use your stamps and stamp them out. Okay, let's pop all this aside for the moment. There's also some liquid glues. I'm going to pop them aside. Whatever ones you've got, we can work with. And if you don't have anything, give me a yell. I'll deliver it to you, or you can come past the shop and pick up, or you can come in and shop. All right, so let's get started on what we need to do to create this. So the first thing you need to do is to get out your paper that has the leaves and the grey roof on it. So that's this one. So it's leaves one side, and the grey tin roof on the other side. So we're going to measure 6 inches up from the bottom of the page, and we're going to cut across the middle. We can leave the barcode on this one. Normally we cut it off, but we're going to leave it on. So 6 inches up and cut across the middle. Grab my trimmer, which means I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to measure 6 inches from here, and I'm going to do both of mine at the same time. You can do them individually if you want, but this trimmer will take quite a few sheets at once. So there we go, we have cut the 6 inches across. The top piece with the green leaves and the barcode attached are going to be the bottom sections of our layout. So taking the 6 inch piece that you cut off, so not this one, put this one aside, this one, we then want to cut this to 3 1/4, and we want to keep the shadowed leaves section. So can you see on the top here we've got shadowed leaves? We want to keep that section. That's going to be the top part of our layout. So that needs to be 3 1/4. So I'm going to put that back into my trimmer and put that to 3 1/4, 3 1/4, and then I'm going to trim that. So I put both of them in there, and that is going to be the top part of our layout. So we've got the shadowy leaves. This little section that we have cut off is the smallest of the 3, so one of them will be 3 1/4 and one will be a little bit less than that, and that is going to be turned over and used for the tin section. So this one and this one, and what we'll need to do is grab a pair of scissors, and we'll need to cut along this line along here. So we're just kind of following that path that's already there. I sort of want the shadowed section, so the line in the middle, I'm not cutting it off, I'm just cutting right down the middle of that line so that I've got a little bit on both pieces, a bit of the line here and a bit of the line here, so that I've got a bit on both pieces when I cut them out. Doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to ink it, but that's one. Pause the video if you need to catch up. Corrugated tin roof, one, and another. Focusing on this noise that it's making, but hopefully you're cutting as well and making the same noise. Okay, so that's our sections that are cut now, and we need to ink the edges of these. So we only really need to ink the corrugated, the bumpy section there. Okay, so we're going to grab our ink, and we're going to ink those sections, that one, and do all 4 of those. I'm going to do all 4, tidy up and come back to you. So just pause it if you need to. Okay, they are all inked now, and we can put those ones aside for the minute. We need our dark card next. This one here. And we're going to cut a 4 1/2 inch strip from that one. Might need to leave my trimmer here for a sec. So 4 1/2 inches is here. And again, another 4 1/2 inches, because we're doing a double page, we need 2 of these. pop those ones aside with the others. Where's my pile? Okay, now we need the light card. And we're going to cut that one to 4 1/4. So this is slightly smaller. There. And again, 4 1/4. So that's going to give you an 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Okay. Then we're going to put these two onto these two so that we have a border of an 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so we need to put double-sided tape on the back of the long edges. So this one here, this one here, there. Don't forget the back is the smoother of the two sides. And that gets placed right in the middle of that. Sort of eyeball that so that it's nice and straight. 1. 2. There we go. And then we're going to add double-sided tape to the back of these long edges again. So this one here. Going to have to do a shop run to go get some more double-sided tape. There and there. And then we're going to stick our roof sections to the back of this. So these roof sections here, this is the back. We're going to stick the tin roof sections about 1 inch showing top and bottom. So if you pop it onto your mat, just do one at a time, you can see that these two marks here are 1 inch. So what I want to do is I want to pull this off. And then I want that sitting on about the 1 inch mark there. So if I put that straight up against that edge there, we should end up with the whole thing reasonably straight. So 1 inch there to there. It doesn't have to be exact, but you'll find that this tin roof may even be on a slight angle. So that's where I think that using your mat helps. So I'm using my mat because the piece itself is thinner here than what it is here. So I'm just going by this edge here, popping it against this 1 inch mark down here, so this mark here, and then lay it up against this edge here and stick. So you should end up with a piece that looks like this, and that will be, you need to do that on both of them. So I'll just do it again so you can see it. 1. Oh, my vacuum cleaner started up, sorry about that. Husband's hard at it doing the vacuuming. He's sitting here listening to me, slowly going mad with me working from home. We've been working from home and studying from home. He's not used to having me around all the time. Right, so these are our two pieces here, and they are going to then go onto our background page. So we're going to make our background page with this using, remember this one here? Yep. Okay, and this one here. Okay, so to do this, we'll do one at a time. So to do this, you need one of those, and one of these. Okay, so we're going to start by sticking the piece top and bottom. So this one here, and this one here. Now this obviously from top to bottom needs to be 12 inches. Sometimes that's a bit hard to figure out exactly what the 12-inch mark is. So I'll often use a little piece of leftover paper or a piece of leftover card as long as I know it's 12 inches. So let's use this dark card here. And so that means this bottom one down here needs to be on this line here to show that that's the 12-inch mark. So from there to there, from there to there is 12 inches each. And I know that that's pretty straight. It's overlapping slightly on this side, and I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to make sure I get my left-hand side right, and then I can cut off anything I need to. So we've got this piece to stick onto here. Now to do that, you want to make sure that it sticks from the top as well as from the middle. So that's where you would use your double-sided tape along the top section of this, and now I've run out. I'll just grab another one. There. So it goes there. And I think that leaf is actually upside down. Yes. Wasn't watching that, was I? That goes there. But I also want to put some tape on the top section of this one. There. But I'm doing it on the bottom section. I don't want it all the way to the end. Oops, a bit hard to see. I don't want it all the way to the end here because I'm going to tuck some leaves up underneath it. So I'm going to do it probably around about there. All right, now I've messed this up. Let's line this back up again. So one here, one here. This is going to make our 12-inch piece. Stand up to do this one. Then it's basically up to you where you want to put it, but I put mine about 1.5 inches from the top of the page. So this is 1, this is half, so this is about where it's got to go. 1.5 is there, so there and there, and stuck. So now I have a page, and hopefully it's still square. Check it out. Slightly overhanging on this side, which means I can just use a trimmer or a craft knife and tidy that edge up. So it's exactly 12 inches because it's slightly over. I don't know if you can see that, slightly over. Now it's all tidy. Repeat that for the other side. So let's just do that again. This one sits on the top. Double-sided tape. This one sits on the bottom. Whoops, goes this way up, remember, otherwise you've got a barcode at the bottom. This one, we're leaving that barcode on just as a bit of extra to stick to. And then we need to stick this one on. So we're going to put some double-sided tape across the top. And then not so close to the edge on the second one. Okay, let's take the 1, 2, 3, 4 bits of tape, line this up so it's exactly straight again on my left hand side there. Come down one, I was 1/2 inch out there, and 1.5 inches down. Can make sure that's the same as this one. Yep. So if you use it this way, it doesn't actually stick so much, but you've got to be careful not to knock this one over. So 1.5 is there and there, and that's still straight. Good. There we go. So that's our 2 pages now as our base. Okay, so pop those ones aside for the minute. Now we need this one and our scissors, and you need to cut around about 20, I think I said 20 leaves, cut around 20 leaves and gum nuts out. So I'll show you my finished piece. Out of that whole paper, that's how many I took. So don't feel like you have to take heaps and heaps and heaps. It's really only about 20 of them all up. And because I've already done this one, I'm not going to use that paper. I'm just going to continue to cut out of this one again. So you need about 20 leaves. So just chop them along. One. I'm not leaving any outside edges on them. I'm just cutting them nice and close. You can make leaves, so like, can you see this one here? It's been cut off. I'm just going to sort of recut that one so that it looks like a full leaf. And I'm not going to cut up past there, because what's going to happen is we're going to get these leaves and then we're going to tuck them underneath here. So they don't have to be full at the top. So how I've cut that leaf off here doesn't really matter, because it's going to go underneath. So go ahead and cut 20 of them out. I will pause this so you don't have to watch me doing this. That's boring. And then come back to it when you're done. Ta-da! Here are 20 leaves cut out. Now we need to ink the edges of them. Don't worry about the little white bits on the top or the top bits there. We're not going to fuss, because they're going to be stuck underneath. Just grab some ink and ink all of those. You might want to pause it again. Okay, so I'm still going inking this. I had run out of ink in my ink pad, so I had to re-ink it. To do that, you use a refill, and you refill it, and then you use, I used a credit card just to squish all the ink into the pad. So I'm still going on inking the edges of these. That takes off that real white cut look, makes it fit a little bit better to the layout. Doesn't look so separate. It sort of ties in a little bit better. And I also did some of these little flowers. Just take the white edges off of those as well. And I did some of one lot of gum nuts. I didn't do that on my original, but I did on this one. Just that I've already inked that. The gum nut's quite cute, so might be able to find somewhere to tuck that in. All right. Now these need to be slipped underneath that layer of flowers here. So you'll need a little bit of magic mount underneath that. And I'm just going to cut some thin strips, and I'm going to cut them like that with pointed ends. So, oh, So they're almost triangular pieces, and that way I can pop them onto the backs of my leaves and they'll come closer to the end. There. And then that is going to get stuck. In fact, I'm not going to put that one on there because I want to tuck it underneath. There. Doesn't need to be stuck all the way to the top. So if we take that off of there and then stick that under, you'll have a few of those. And I think if you just have the tips so that they're not landing on a green section, just so that they're landing on a cream section, you'll notice them a little bit more. But up to you. Layer those on. You need 20 of them. You can use your original page here as an idea of where to put them. So you can see that I've put my flowers here, 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 here. Show you better on the layout. So here and here. This one is flat. This one is layered up. This one is layered up as well. So I've used 3 lots of those. Okay, have fun putting that together and I will meet you at the next stage. Okay, so I've got my first 10 on here and I have placed them so that there's 3 here, 3 here, 3 here and 1 single one there, and then I've got the flowers over the top there. And now I'm on to the second one. Still cutting pieces to fit underneath. It's a bit bigger. So when it comes time to sticking your leaves on or sticking the backs on, I'm only putting it on the bottom section of each of the leaves. And if you're not sure which way up the leaf goes, when you turn it over, it's got some writing on the back. So it's G'day mate and Struth and things like that. So you should be able to see pretty much which way it goes up. And then once I have done that, I'm then going to stick them on again. So it'll be 3 again. 1. Oops, that does go that way. 2. 3, 3 and 3, and then a little lonely one here as well. Okay, so I've got those on now, and then it's just a matter of placing a couple of these. I'm going to use those ones reasonably flat, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of those ones. 1 there, and a little bit of mount on the back of that one as well. And that one can go there maybe. Okay. So that's that bit done. You can put your flowers on as well here if you wanted to. Thought I had 3 flowers. I can only find 2. So if you wanted to have extras, you could put these extra ones on if you wanted to put extras on. These ones you can stick on with the Zots, or you can use your quick dry glue. So if you have the quick dry glue, use that. The regular glue is probably not going to be strong enough to stick it straight away, whereas these, they stick really, really well. Best way to use these is to peel it off. So there's 2 sections. Peel one away. Take the bit that doesn't have the dot on it away. And don't try and pick that dot off. Actually stick that to the flower and then pull it off. Because if you start putting these things on your fingers, it's really hard to get them off. So that's how that one is going to go. There. Right, now we need to work on this one here. So this paper, we're going to choose 2 journal blocks that you like. They can be whichever ones you want. We're not going to do anything else with the layout. I don't have a second layout for you. I liked to have on my original, I like to have a small photo and a regular size photo, so I used a small one. But if you've only got one photo, you might choose to use the larger panel to go on the side so that it just fits one photo. And again, on the other side, I had a vertical, so I ended up using 2 smaller pieces, one here and one here, but up to you on what photos that you've got to fit. Okie dokie. So cut those out. You can use a craft knife and a ruler, or you can use a trimmer. You can leave the border on if you want to, or you can cut it off. So I'm going to leave it on because the colour still suits quite well. And cut those ones out. And that way I don't need to mat it or anything like that. And then the other one for the other side, I used this one. It's a beautiful range of paper. We do have a few extra pieces of this in at the shop, and we have a couple of the matching pieces that go with it left. It's not a great lot left in this range, but you might be able to snag yourself a couple of those pieces. Just give me a yell and I'll get some to you. We also have some more stamps as well that are in this range. It's not a great lot, but there's some. So to be able to stamp this out using the platform, I'm going to put the Made in Australia across the top of this one, sorry, across the bottom of this one here. So what I'm going to do is position it where I want it to go. You can put it right in the corner if you want. And the Made in Australia is this one here. So we take it off, we put it the way up it's going to go, and I'm going to put it around about there. So the magnets, mine are broken because they got snapped together. The magnets hold your paper in place, and the stamp is picked up by the plastic on here. So you pick that up and then that will come over to this side here. Let's just shuffle this across. Then what we do is we use the archival ink to stamp it up. So even if you don't have archival ink, you can still use your distress ink. I just used archival because it showed up quite black. I've deliberately inked this poorly. I haven't done a very good job because I want to show you how you can stamp it out, and if it doesn't work you can come back and you can add more to it, and then you can stamp it out again. So even if you have an ink pad that's kind of dried out or it's not working very well, you can still use use it again and again. Why is that not working now? Okay, I might just do that A just that little bit more. Okay, so that is how you would stamp it out using our stamp pad. Then this would go back onto there, there, and go back into your packet or into your kit. So I want to show you how to stamp it out without using a platform. If you're stuck at home without a platform at all, I'll cut you off a spare one. If you have a clear block, use that. If you don't have a clear block and you're desperate, you could use any other kind of plastic. You know what? I could probably even use my ruler. No, it's not big enough. So any kind of plastic, maybe a CD case or something like that would work. So this is a clear block. We will pop our stamp onto the clear block and then we will ink it up. Now you don't get a second go at this one, so you have to do that really well. Make sure that it is inked really well. So I'm looking at that. Missed a bit at the top. To put your ink on, don't rub it, you need to pat it on. If you rub it, you'll actually be rubbing some of the ink off it. Okay, then we set our panel where we want it to go. This means you can actually put it wherever you like. So let's put it right at the top. Stamp it on. I'm standing up. Stamp it out and across. So now you have your image that is stamped out nicely. And that's how to use it without a stamping platform. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my platform because it's much, much easier. And pop my, I might put this in the middle. Pop my G'day Mate on there. So we're taking the plastic off it. G'day Mate's going to go right at the top because I am going to right underneath it. Ink. I would like it darker. I'm going to do another layer. One more. I think I need to re-ink my ink pad. There we go, that's much better. Beautiful. Love to be able to stamp out confidently now, whereas before it was always a bit of a worry over whether it was going to stamp properly and ruin your work or not. Okay, so this goes here. This goes here. Then, oops, we're going to cut out our parrots to add to it, and then you're going to add your photographs to it. So you need these parrots here, which are out of this section here. Raise them up with some foam tape and they get stuck on top. I've also tucked their little tail feathers underneath here. Can you see? Just there, because they're cut off and they would obviously be a lot longer than that, and it just didn't look right sitting up there. So when I stuck that one on here, I actually just left a little bit of a gap just at the top section there so that you can tuck those tail feathers underneath. Then I've journaled along here and added my two photos. They're not matted, they're not sanded, they're just put straight on like that. And so that's your layout, all done. I hope you've enjoyed it, and please post me a picture of your finished work. I'd love to see what photos that you've ended up putting onto it. I'm pretty sure that we've all got lots of holiday photos or Australia photos. I really love these of my kids. It's like 15 years ago, but look at them, they're so cute. Of the Nevdale Wildlife Park, or the Greenough Wildlife Park, where we used to go for the kids when they were little at Mum's Club. Thanks for staying with me, and I will see you next time. Hopefully we're all back on board again soon and we're in the classroom again. But for now, thank you so much for watching the videos and putting up with my stopping and starting and talking and unprofessionalism. But hopefully you have your nice layout done, and we'll still be able to scrapbook with us in the future. See ya.